I'm here with the Emmy Award-winning Lee Romaire, who teamed up with American YouTuber Socks for One to recreate the iconic Five Nights at Freddy's characters in his newest video, Five Nights at Freddy's in Real Life. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Mikella.
So, my first question is, have you worked with Socks for One before, or is this your first time?
This is the first time I've worked with Socks, and I will say they are a great team to work with.
So, what was your reaction when you found out that the video game Five Nights at Freddy's was becoming a movie?
Well, I hadn't heard of, honestly, I haven't heard of Five Nights at Freddy's before this. I was contacted by Carson Philbin, who's the director for Socks, and they pitched the project to me, and they wanted to get it done before the movie opened. So that was when I first kind of learned about all of it. I'm not a big video game person, but I do have fans in my studio of the video game. But that's the first time I really heard of it.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty popular. So, what was it like bringing these video game characters to life?
We had it was a very challenging project because we only had 8 weeks to do it. And that included making the characters, and then programming the heads. The heads are animatronic. The bodies are suits, people wearing them. So 8 weeks is a very short period of time. We do a lot of work for theme parks, for theme park attractions, animatronics for that. And those typically take, a year to 2 years to make. So an 8-week project is really fast. It was a challenge, but it was really fun, and it all really came together exactly as it should have, on set and behind the scenes as well.
Wow, that seems really quick to have to do everything.
Yes.
So how do you think the Five Nights at Freddy's fans will react to the animatronics coming to life?
Well, I mean, as of today, it has about 6 million views, and I think it has about 8,000 comments. And lots of the comments are, they were very excited to see the animatronics. They love the costumes. They thought they looked just like the costumes in the video game, or the characters in the video game. So I think we did a pretty good job. I mean, obviously we had to make some adjustments, and we had to do that. We had to make the head slightly bigger so we can fit a person inside, the person's head, and the mechanical structures for the eyes and the mouth. But I think everybody was super happy with how it looked, and there were just hundreds of comments about that. So I was very excited to see that, and Socks and his team were very happy with him as well.
Yeah, I was actually wondering like how it worked, if there was somebody actually inside. So that's cool to know.
Yeah, they hired dancers to actually do it. So the dancers, were able to mimic those robotic moves. An animatronic like that would cost, probably several $1,000,000 to create. So, it had to be actors. It had to be a costume, because it's simply it's not doable with an actual animatronic figure, which
Yeah.
is it's essentially a robot.
Mhm. So you said that you had 8 weeks personally.
Right.
So was that like the time span for the whole YouTube video itself?
Well, so I had a team of about 21 people working on this. And while we were building the costumes, they were actually building the restaurant. So they built the restaurant, the sets, they coordinated all of it, and then it was all shot in one day. Yeah, so it all had to come together pretty perfectly.
Wow, that was really short time.
Yes.
Yeah, so how has working on this project been different from other projects you've done?
Well, like I said, this is the first, I guess, YouTube video we've done. And it's probably, I guess, I don't think it's ever been done before to have animatronic mechanical characters and suits working on a video, just because of the sheer expense of it. Like I said, we normally do theme park work, for all the things that you go see, the Pirates of the Caribbean, Avatar Land, Star Wars Land. We do a lot of that work at Disneyland and at Universal. And we do some movies and TV. This was a short project that it's more in tune with like a TV commercial type thing where it only has to last a little. These things only have to last a little while. So it's more in line with that. Movies, typically, when you do a project like this with a puppet or an animatronic, they have to last for maybe a month, and there's always somebody taking care of them. This was just for one day. So we did a lot of 3D printing of the mechanisms. All the mechanisms in the head were 3D printed, designed in the computer, printed out and assembled really quickly. And we knew that, if they would just last for the shoot, that it would be, great. So, that's how it differs in that way, I would think. Just the temporariness of the whole thing.
That's really cool because I never even realized that there was this whole world of animatronics.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. What was your favorite part about working with this property?
I think it was just the fun of the challenge of getting it done, and working with this team that was young, and they were very excited about the project. So that enthusiasm kind of carried over the whole thing. It was very interesting to try to build a costume for an actor that we couldn't normally. If we make a costume for somebody, we're able to measure them and get them and try it on in the studio. This was all the way across the country, on the East Coast, and we're on the West Coast. So we had to build the suits based on measurements, and we had to make sure the dancers that they hired were the exact measurements that we build to in order for them to fit. I mean, they could have been shipped over and they might have not fit someone. So we had to coordinate all of that, and it turned out to work really well.
I see there could have been a lot of complications, but it turned out really
Yes.
well.
Yeah, electronics, also too, all those heads were wireless. We programmed the heads to sing the Freddy's song. So we lined up all the heads and we programmed each one, and we made it all on one button, so the director could hit the button and they would start talking at the right times during the song. And he could turn it off whenever he wanted. So that was really neat as well. So we made it as simple as possible, as foolproof as possible. And luckily, nothing went wrong. It all went right. And they actually finished filming 3 hours before they were supposed to finish. So that's probably a record in itself.
That's really cool. So my final question for you is,
Sure.
what do you hope the audience will take away from watching the Five Nights at Freddy's show and YouTube video in particular?
Well, I just, I hope they enjoy it. I mean, those guys are really funny, and I think, having the characters look so much like the real characters in the video game, it brings like the whole level of the project and the video up. The combination of those guys, the acting and their craziness, and the great sets and the good costumes and animatronic heads. I hope he does something else like this. It was really cool.
Yeah, and I definitely see that there was a lot of hard work put into it, and I think people are really going to love it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Lee Romaire, for
Yes.
joining me today. Make
Yeah.
sure to check out Socks for One YouTube video and watch the new movie Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm Mikella reporting for Kids First. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel so that you never miss another one of our videos.